I think you should do it the way that works for you to be heard.
Before, my life was like hell. I have much more freedom over my life now as opposed to when I was in the hospitals.
People need to know what their rights are. If they don't know what their rights are, then I don't know what they're going to do.
Back when I was in high school, my mom told me that I couldn't achieve very many things. Don't tell an adult with disability they can't do something, because they will try to do it. They'll try it.
Institutions to Independence, providing a voice to Minnesotans with developmental disabilities, is a co-production of Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota, on the web at lssmn.org and TPT's Minnesota channel. Support for the program has been provided by Frederickson and Byron, PA, the Minnesota Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities, and Government Training Services.
I wonder what kind of flower that is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that one. When I was growing up, I lived in foster homes, so to me, I didn't have a lot of rights. Pretty much been told what to do and how to do. I started to learn, about we had rights and to learn speaking for yourself. Otherwise, I always had people just step on me, and I never said anything bad.
In 1949, I was admitted to a vocational hospital. In January of 1951, I was moved to Victory Hospital. In June of 1951, when I was 5 years old, I was institutionalized in Faribault. Finally, I moved out of Faribault in 1970, and I was so happy to be moved out. I sure like being out on my own.
I can dream for my child. I know I don't have to settle for what's there. My children have always felt empowered. I never told them they couldn't do things other than, break the law. But I've never told them they couldn't do. And if you asked my children what autism meant, they would tell you it means I learned the same thing everyone else does, just differently.
I didn't know much about self-advocacy before I started working at Merrick Inc. We learn about our rights that we have. Self-advocacy is a way to respect yourself and respect others and to stand up for your rights, to know your rights so you can lead a better life.
I moved out of Faribault in 1970, and I was so happy to be moved out. My life is okay now after I moved out of that dump. I think I have a better life than most other people do. Some days were happy. Other days were not as good. But I did keep on living my life. I haven't studied art. My art style is my own creation. When I have a camera, I go outside looking for great pictures. My paintings are based off some of the pictures I took.
Richard is doing very well economically by selling his paintings. It's a way to break down stereotypes and myths, and my goodness, he's adding more beauty to the world than a lot of us are. We have a supported employment program where we have about 100 people that are working in the community. They want to make a difference. They want people to know that they have abilities, not disabilities. They've been told so often that they can't do things, but they can.
Do you think it's hard for people with developmental disabilities to convince employers that they can do the job?
I think so.
Why do you think that is?
Because they don't think that they'll be very good at it.
So what would you say to employers who think like that?
Don't look at me because of my disability. Look at the work that I do.
How long have you worked here?
3.5 years.
I hope it's another 30 years. In terms of our culture as a company, it's been transformative. I've heard each of the folks who work here tell me that their hope and their desire is to work here for the rest of their lives. And it's not necessarily because I'm a good guy, it's not because it's a good place to work, I hope it is, but it's because this job is so meaningful.
I'm a normal human being, just born with a challenge.
What was it like the first day that you came to work?
I wasn't happy and then excited and just happy.
Is this the kind of job you'd like to keep doing?
Yeah.
What do you like about this job?
The pay and the smell of coffee, and it allows me to support my girlfriend that I've been dating for 2 years.
What they do extremely well. They love their work, they're excited about it, they come to work every day with a great attitude.
They told me she'd never walk, she'd never talk, or she'd never hold a spoon or a pencil. And the doctor told me to get an abortion, and I didn't. And she was born with disabilities. They told me I probably should put her in a home. Jenna's very fortunate when 90% of people with disabilities aren't employed. She's been working at Target for almost 11 years.
I like to relate with other people. I do returns. I like getting paid every time. I like being number one, learning how to do things on my own.
I work at Godfather's Pizza. I do dishes and busing. I got a nice sense of humor, attitude, nice person, have friends.
Scott is a great example of how persons with disabilities can successfully live and work in community and have real jobs and make real things happen, and who can contribute to the well-being of life in town.
I'm on Boy Scouts. We do a lot of stuff, like camping, boarding, fishing, hiking, biking.
Scott is making his own decisions about when he goes into town, what he shops for, when he shops for it, what stores he goes to. Freedom to make decisions is probably the most basic. It's my hope that the story of Scott becomes normative. They can not only live in the community, but be active parts of the community, to have real jobs where they're paying taxes and making decisions about their own future so that their own hopes and dreams can be realized on their terms.
Jenna requires 24-hour care, whether she lives here in her own apartment or she lives in a group home. She needs 24-hour support. It's got like a little lift thing. Jenna's empowered to make her own decisions.
Do you feel like you live independently?
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It's actually fun to do this thing, to live on my own.
The more people we keep in their own homes, the better off we are. That's what people want. They want to stay in their own homes or stay in their own communities, and we now have the ability to do that, both with the services that we provide, with technology, and with a variety of things, so that only those that are in the greatest need to move out of their homes. We've been advocating for people to develop programs and services that are customized to their individual needs, trying to get people fully involved in their communities.
We have an alternative within our community.
Okay, John, come on.
Directed supports. We're able to do alternative day programming. Some days she works, some days she volunteers, but 2 days a week she has Our Choice. That's a group from 10:30 to 1:30 for social activities. They get to do what they want. We don't tell them what they have to do. It's their choice. So when you talk about self-directed, I mean, Jenna kind of has the best of day and the best of residential and best of community and a super dog. So what more could you want?
We've been able to get all people with developmental disabilities out of the state institutions, and the last one moved out about 10 years ago.
Certainly over the last 40, 50 years, there's been a great sweep of change for persons with developmental disabilities, from living in the state institutions to living in community.
No one knows your child better than you do. I ask them, what do you want to do? What is it that you want to do? And then we look and see if we can get there.
I'm an honest person, respectful. Even if they don't respect me back, I'll still respect them regardless.
He wants to write his music and sell it, and he's good.
Mom gave me 2 DVDs. One of them was the Jimi Hendrix Experience and Eric Clapton and Friends.
When my daughter gave me my granddaughter who's now 2 years old. Donnie took an early childhood class so he'd know how to work with his niece.
Young people with disabilities are benefiting from the fact that we're not viewing them necessarily as persons with disabilities like we've had in the past. They aren't suffering from those labels, but they're dreaming of the lives that they have.
Why should I tell someone how to live their life? She gets to decide when she eats, what days she works.
Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities did a survey about 3 years ago that compared Minnesotans' attitudes from 3 years ago versus about 40 years prior to that, and there had been a substantial change. Because individuals with disabilities are now fully integrated into our society, they're in our schools, they're working, they're riding the city buses. People know individuals with disabilities and now can respect what they can achieve and what they can contribute to society.
So part of our vision for the future is to simplify the very complex system and then to get the money directly to the individual. We know that that saves money. We need everyone in our communities to be contributing to the well-being of the community. And persons with disabilities clearly can make important contributions. It takes all of us.
I want to know that I'm a person and I'm human and I have rights and try to get along and be respectful to them and they be respectful to me. That's how I see it.
I feel so sad other people don't have a chance to live their own life like I do. I make my own choices. I can advocate for myself and am happy I can do that. I'm not saying that disabilities are a bad thing. I know that through my disability I have learned so much and met so many amazing people. I just wish that others that have a disability would be able to have the same opportunities as I have. I am calling the shots these days. I like my life now.
My future is to get married and become a musician still.
My dream someday a house.
Wow, Mary's future is big. I'd like to start my own self-advocacy business. So my future is looking good. Dreaming big. People with disabilities don't want to be treated awful. Don't treat them differently. We can do whatever we would like to. We can dream big and we can achieve our goals. I have, and I'm still dreaming big.
Institutions to Independence, Providing a Voice to Minnesotans with Developmental Disabilities, is a co-production of Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota, on the web at lssmn.org, and TPT's Minnesota channel. Support for the program has been provided by Frederickson and Byron, PA, the Minnesota Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities, and Government Training Services.